Hello everybody, welcome to Polo Shirt Monday. No, it's the MCN. Hello everybody, hope you're doing well. Got a few things to go over, some really spicy things and some answers from Kabam that I think are very good, as well as a very strange situation around something publicised for arcade that's slightly misleading. Let's look into it. Let's kick off with rerunning deals. As a lot of you might be familiar with, there is and are some daily deals at the moment for Magnetron crystals. These daily deals, they're going to appear here. I think you can also get them on the web store, which by the way, it's I think it's better on savings to get them via the web store. But Kabam commented on this one. I think it's important because somebody was like, I only needed 4 more. Are we completely gone? With obviously the runestones, the particular deal. It was runestones for getting a Nightcrawler, and they're all gone by the way, and because they're all gone it means you can't trade them in, but having the deals run for a little bit longer for those that spend would be really nice, and something especially from a Saga perspective that would be good to see. And now that we're in the next Saga, they're not going to be around for people to get and also do the trade in, so if you're without them, you're going to have to trade them in for 7-star shards or 6-star shards or whatever shards. And Kabam Crashed had said to this one, seeing quite a few posts like this, it's good feedback. We'll make sure to rerun the Magnetron crystals offers at the end of this saga. And of course, to that particular point where you could trade in your runestones, this time is all about opening crystals. So you're opening Magnetron crystals in order to get yourself the 7-star Captain Marvel, which of course, if you're, I don't know, down by about 5 to 10 and you're coming really close to the end of this saga, in 2-3 months time, that you can actually have that opportunity. So that's cool that they're going to be taking that into consideration. On to now another spending persons based topic situation. As like with the dual track system, there are different deals within it. Or there's not different deals, but there's a platinum track for it. I don't think in the dual track we have access to anything that's Paragon crystal orientated, especially as Magnetron crystals are the big thing, especially if you are a free-to-play player that you access, especially being Paragon and Valiant upwards. We've done a video on the channel about how to kind of get 7-star Captain Marvel. Spoiler alert, it ain't easy. You're gonna have to spend your money, quite possibly. But for those that spend, like you get in your platinum track some nice stuff, and of course you get your tokens by the end of it. But many players, especially those that are Valiant, have talked about the fact of, well, within these particular deals, which I think this is one here on the Valiant side of things, it's Paragon crystals. And it's like, well, we've got Valiant crystals. You can see Paragon players get Paragon crystals, but Valiant players don't get Valiant crystals. So that's something as well that's important to mention. And Kabam have responded back to this because they did kind of like see this. It'd say, the short answer is the event was built before the Valiant crystals were. I'm not saying they would for sure be Valiant crystals if that wasn't the case, but that's why they weren't considered. So like, maybe in the future things will change, but we just don't know what the future holds. But hopefully if Kabam do these particular deals again, that they kind of look to go, hey, Valiants get Valiant crystals, because Valiant crystals are a thing in Marvel Contest of Swipe and Tap. So that would be nice to see, wouldn't it? Spring of Sorrow Onslaught. A lot of people have talked about this you talked about it as well here on the channel, about Onslaught being such an annoying champion, mainly for the AI perspective. I'm not quite sure if we're talking about the nodes, but a lot of the time I feel that champions, especially defenders, do end up with their coding AI even, kind of working in a way that's not particularly fair to the player. I mean, a good example is brute force. We talk about brute force a lot in that, look, if champions go like, oh, I've got to throw a degen, I'm gonna not allow you, I'm not gonna come at you. So trying to get a champion that's very defensive, that's gonna have you getting a degen, is just like, you're not gonna get anywhere, and you're just gonna take a lot of kind of like tick damage. But what about changing the nodes of the champion? It was interesting because there was a lot of people that were talking about what would make the champion better. As I said, Onslaught node buffs, one has to go, and people were kind of like Heavy Hitter and Unstoppable being those particular node buffs that they would like to have removed. I thought it was interesting because there's a lot of other stuff here to kind of look at, but Kabam Crashed did actually answer to 2 threads on the subject of Onslaught. The first one being, the fight would be too easy without Heavy Hitter. I think the fight is great as is, but if anything were to change, I would rather see the addition of a node that either increase power sting damage, so there's a greater payoff to transferring them to Onslaught, or removed a debuff from the attacker whenever Onslaught detonates a power sting. So there would be a way to remove Daunted. I mean, yeah, absolutely. I think that would anything would have been great at the time to finish it off and kind of change it. It's not going to happen now, but I hope they learn from the future. I mean, look, AI was a big issue with that particular fight and the way it kind of flows, but hey, that's the normal stuff we see with that particular piece of content. And now one of our biggest things that we're going to talk about today is this arcade gaslighting situation. As it says, they're missing 2 of the 5 promised immunities. So this was taken from a tweet recently where it said Arcade reigns as a potent defender. His immunity lineup covers Poison, Shock, Bleed, Incinerate and Rupture, making him a formidable foe against dots and bursts. And Zach the Sword points out that on initial advertising, Kabam posted details and descriptions of Arcade as a 5 immunity defender. We can see this in the screenshots below. The significance about this advertising, 5 immunity, sparked the community, as this is one of the first few Rupture immune champions potentially added to the game, and making Arcade advertised as a top polka dot power defense placement in Alliance War. His view by community was poised as a top war defender. And further to that, now today, that pre-release bundles are out, people buying him have realized that he's only Poison, Shock and Incinerate immune, and the ability in no place says anything to do with Bleed and Rupture immunity. This is a big deal as his value as a defender has dropped substantially, has been misadvertised. Interesting. And then in addition, Kabam's response to this was to take minimal responsibility, placing the blame on us by saying that we should have just read the deep dives carefully. Well, we'll have to see about that. When the deep dives itself has always been inaccurate and misrepresentative of the champion's full capabilities, such as the infamous Shocker deep dive drama. There's been tons of deep dive drama. One thing that I think it's difficult, isn't it, for Karate Mike, who would make those videos in months in advance. Like, he's probably now making videos for stuff that's in September potentially, but by doing that, he acts as a developer build. And what Kabam would do is 2 months out, maybe they even said like, okay, so Karate Mark's made the video and it's June for the September champion, and then in July they've then gone, right, we're gonna have to take away this feature or this feature from that champion, this ability or that ability. And as a result, what that's done is it's kind of misconstrued stuff. And if you know, Mike has done a video that's got a narrative, a structure to it that incorporates what he said about a champion's mobility, rotation, or even kind of like other elements, then that can cause a problem. And it's like, well, if he might have said something out of turn or even not edited something correctly, then that video would still remain and retain misleading information. Not by anyone's fault, it just would, because, you know, simple mistakes happen. And we've seen that before. Or it's a case of like Kabam haven't got around the time to telling him, or kind of like even changing things in that time, or asked him to redo the video, or whatever. I don't know, but we've seen it before. That's the point. So yes, this is definitely kind of like not a particular good thing. I think this all came to a head late last week. I'm still waiting to see if Kabam respond against this, and so far I don't think they have, especially to come to the forums and respond to it. They're probably going to look into this this week. They've got a lot of fires they're fighting at the moment. To those who think nobody saw this tweet, this is the official MCC Discord now, where the conversation at Immunities was brought up many times and never corrected. The miscommunication was widespread and not dealt with. So there's kind of like a few mentions there. I don't know, as I said, Kabam are firefighting at the moment, so if it's like, because then the community team have to be the ones that go and patch the leaks, so to speak, or kind of fix the plumbing, because, or alert people to fixing it. Yeah. Piccolo says, it's worth pointing out that the tweet was taken down very soon after it went up. Kabam did say they were chilling out with the 5-5 defenders after all the potent defenders released in quick succession. So maybe at one point he had all of those immunities and then had them cut back. Another thing is you can get a rough estimate of how hard a champion will be, fight based on the attributes Kabam assigns them, which that's not kind of like a decent amount of structure, to be honest. No. But to the first point, yeah, like they obviously pulled it. from it. So yeah. Not gonna lie, all those immunities on a human champ wearing a suit, tie, and loafers was very suspicious and perplexing to me. Well, that's the thing, isn't it? I think that Kabam had this kind of idea that they were going to create a lot of these kind of very difficult champions. But yes, not great. Kabam pulled the old bait and switch instead of just deleting their post and changing their statement. I think it just down to just mistakes. Like, at times I'll schedule something in advance. Like if I'm scheduling videos in, which I've done before, and there's like a thumbnail issue that I've kind of titled something incorrectly, then I might be unable to change that because I might be away. I might not be, I could be on a boat in the middle of the North Sea, which is a very real thing that happened, that I mistitled something and I had no internet for about 24 hours because I was between two mountains in Norway. So look, what can you do? Very different when you're a multi-million dollar company, and a simple mistake is costly not just for yourself but costly for the player base as well. So it's a very much takes two to tango in this. Yeah, I think this is that Dr. Zola's got it right here. Personal, non-professional opinion. This shouldn't be the way things like this get done. My view is an apology at a minimum, and maybe some attempt to make it right would be a course of action that would be appreciated by the community. Yeah, I think that's kind of like the smallest thing. I would say people appreciate what is going on at the moment, and yeah, like you could say like blame it on social media manager. What if that particular person's being cut? Like people, I know that maybe I wouldn't, consider this being a thing, but what if this has actually been a thing, that it's not just the two people we know about? There could be multiple people within marketing that handle the social media side of things. What if they've been cut and it's kind of like everyone's kind of pitching in where they can, and mistakes have happened? It could be a real possibility, but that's the problem with kind of having to be, again, very careful, because there's always money involved with these things. There's decisions as a player towards this game, like whether or not you rank up a champion, whether or not you buy a champion. So very real things impact. So at this moment in time, what would you do, or what are you hoping for Kabam to kind of do? Have you say in the comments. I would like them to kind of like answer against this, especially, it's sad. I know a lot of people would have want this for a war defender. For me, I'm looking at it from an attacking point of view. Having these particular immunities, Poison, Shock, Bleed, Incinerate, and Rupture, means it's just so good for those nodes where you get a multitude of like, oh, you've got to have a Poison Stroke Incinerate immune champion. I can't remember what the one's called. It's the shifting thing, isn't it? Shifting hazard or something. Anyway, whatever it is, I think you'll know what the node is. Remind me in the comments. But if you've got like, oh, I need something that's Shock and Incinerate. No, I need Poison and Bleed. No, I need Poison and Incinerate. It's like, that from an attacking point of view is next level. A great opportunity for a champion that can cover so many bases, whether it be Alliance Wars offense. Yes, we want him for defense. But having that option to go loads of different places and have immunities and use his potency, I think it's absolutely fantastic. But what's your thoughts? Put it in the comment section down below. And yes, would you be asking for a refund based on this? But hopefully Kabam answer against this week, and we get to see a bit more on this and how they plan to deal with it. Because look, people have it's been advertised and people have gone for it. Yes, you've got to read the champion abilities to get a 100% idea, but it's still something that was there. So there's a bit of a Kabam mistake. Anyway, thanks for watching. Oh no, we're going to do arena results. People went a little higher for Onslaught, it seems. Position 171, 38 mil. Going down the positions, we're looking at about 27.8 mil for 43 position. So it gives you a bit of an idea of how much you'll have to push in round 2 in order to get the champion. Hulkling, for example, 76.3 mil is, I'd say, a little bit on the high end for like the 52nd position, but 43 mil for 327 position. Again, that's kind of alright-ish. So I think if you were able to scoop a little bit of the low end, then yeah, 40 mil is going to be your, what you look for the round 2. And predictions-wise, let's go with 25 mil for Hulkling, a 5-star, 40 mil for the 6-star Hulkling. Onslaught 5-star 20 mil, maybe a little bit less than that. It's a bit overkill because people are pushing the arena a bit more. 28 mil, I think someone went 15 mil and didn't get it. I don't know that 100%, but 20 mil for the 5-star version of Onslaught. 6-star version, 28 mil, you're going to have to push there. That's about 4 mil off what it normally falls for a champion like that, but a lot of people want to get this champion because it is a good and annoying champion at the same time. But there we go, that have been your predictions. Thank you very much for watching. Check out some other content located on screen. Have your say in the comments, and we'll see you later on for more information, guides, updates, and all that shebang.